While many nonfiction books for children and young adults are accomplished and intelligent works, only one can win the distinguished Sibert Medal. With that in mind, I present for your consideration Hay Water by Antoinette Portis. Hay Water, a book about, you guessed it, water, offers young readers a visually pleasing and critically engaging look into the many different forms water can take, while also illustrating its importance to us and its impact on our everyday lives. With its flowing illustrations and its doubling of text, Hay Water meets many of the criteria needed to win the Sibert Medal. Firstly, as a picture book, Hay Water adheres to an appropriate style of presentation for its subject and its intended audience. Water is a complicated element that can appear as many different things, which may be confusing to young readers, especially readers who, like the intended audience for this book, are between the ages of 4 and 8. By using a picture book to combine images with words and to create easily recognizable patterns, Portis is able to illustrate, both textually and visually, the many different forms and functions of water in a clear, understandable way. Secondly, this book presents information in a way that is respectful and of interest to children. The narrative voice of this book is that of a child protagonist who is knowledgeable about the subject and who doesn't speak down to the intended audience, but rather speaks directly to the element of water, calling it out for the tricks it can play and exposing it so that the reader is able to join in and connect with the narrative in a way that encourages critical engagement. In addition, patterns play a large role in this book, leading me to believe that this book trusts its audience to pick up on the smaller patterns at play, such as these side-by-side images that show water as different and yet the same, but also trusts its audience to pick up on the larger patterns at work, such as the fact that this book begins with a glass of water being filled and ends with a full glass. This use of recognizable patterns creates a kind of visual narrative arc that is appropriate for the target audience and that respects them enough to show rather than simply tell. Third, Hay Water makes wonderful use of excellent, engaging, and distinctive language. Portis engages her audience with language specific to each spread, illustrating how water acts with both pictures and words. For example, here she depicts the ocean and uses words such as salty, surging, and mysterious. Here she uses the word wink to describe the way dew sits on a blade of grass. And here she contrasts a tear that slides with rain that pours and roars, both giving appropriate words to the specific actions and subtly asking her audience to consider the relationship between people and water. Fourth, the illustrations in Hay Water are representative of an excellent, engaging, and distinctive visual presentation. As mentioned before, the visual aspects of the book rely heavily on parallels and mirroring techniques, such as in this beautiful illustration, but they also guide you ceaselessly through the book, almost like flowing water itself. Take, for example, these 3 spreads that, when placed side by side, create a constantly flowing body of water that illustrates the different types of flowing water and how they are connected, but that also guides the reader's eye onward, page by page. Another set of 3 spreads, coming one right after the other, illustrates still bodies of water, how they differ from one another, and how people relate to them. The pattern emerges as the circles of water get smaller and the human interaction with them becomes more prominent, again drawing the reader's attention to human interaction with water. Fifth, Portis conveys facts, concepts, and ideas in a clear, accurate, and stimulating manner. The doubling of the text is an important factor here, as is the way in which the text and the illustrations work together to form a cohesive whole. As can be seen here, each page has its narrative text and an additional text that clearly labels each object or type of water, creating more than one way for the reader to engage with the book and its concepts. Further, pages like these visually convey the more difficult concepts related to water, such as steam and clouds. The text on this page reads, "Water, even when you try to fool me, I know you," which provides the context necessary for understanding that the steam and the cloud are, in fact, made of water. In addition, the mirroring of the images helps to cement the idea of sameness in the reader's mind. Portis also engages the reader critically with pages such as this, in which the word glass appears behind the glass itself and accurately portrays the way that water distorts images that appear behind it. Finally, Hay Water's supportive features include information that is accurate, clearly explained, and visually in keeping with the rest of the book. The images on the Water Forms page recall previous images, and the depiction of the water cycle on the following page illustrates the circular nature of water and its function in the natural world, further highlighting the use of mirroring images throughout the book. The final page, Conserving Water, invites readers to explore further, to examine water outside of the book, and to apply their newfound knowledge in the real world. In closing, Antoinette Portis's Hay Water provides young readers with a clear, concise, and engaging informational book that brings a new, refreshing perspective to a subject matter that is more complex than it may seem at first glance. Thank you for your consideration.